Hey everyone, hi, it's Pat Michaud and welcome to the Facebook Live today with a very important topic. Actually, I'm going to just chat for a little bit until you have time to join me here live from beautiful sunny London, Ontario in Canada. Absolutely great weather that we're having here, unseasonably warm, which is fabulous. And it's interesting because this topic came up. This is not what I was going to talk about today. And so I see some of you joining me here. I'm delighted that you're here. This is not the topic I had selected for today. However, as you may have heard me say before, life gives you clues. And when we stop and listen and pay attention, there are messages all around us. And so I started listening on the weekend, and then the clues just got louder and louder. And I am sorry to say that the tragedy in Vegas really brought it all to a head for me. And so I do send prayers and love out to the victims and their families in Vegas. Such a tragedy, a senseless tragedy indeed. But again, amplified the need for me to speak to this particular message today, living without regret. And so this all started in conversations with some of my friends on the weekend. And over the past week or so, actually, I've had a lot of people approach me and ask me if I had any regrets about selling my lovely little gem of a house here in Wortley Village in London. And it's very interesting when you hear people's perspective, because this house really was a special little gem. It's what I called my healing house. It's where I moved when I first came here from Edmonton a number of years ago after my divorce, me and my trash bag, starting life anew. And then when things got better and I was able to get the house, time came to end that. And so people are asking, especially people who spend a lot of time at my house with me, don't you have any regrets? Because it was such a lovely little home. No, I had no regrets about that decision. And I want to talk to you about the reasons why. I also want to give you a few tips on living without regrets. And I want to share a Facebook post that had been going around for quite a while in the last few years. And it's an article that was written by a palliative care nurse titled 5 Regrets of the Dying. And then I'm going to move you on into a call to action. And so I have no regrets about selling my house. And it was part of a process. So the healing house, as I called it, served its purpose. I've reached a point in time in my life, in my business, where I knew that it was time for a change. I love change. I embrace change. But there is a process. And so when I knew and decided last year when I turned 65 that I wanted change in my life, I started the process. And for those of you who follow me on Facebook, you know that one of the things that means a lot to me, no matter where I am around the world, are sunsets. I love sunsets. And I was coming to the conclusion that why am I traveling to find a lovely sunset? There are sunsets right here at home, but where are they? I can't see them from my little house. I had a little 1-story house, and I was surrounded by 2-story houses and big trees in Wortley Village. So I could see glimmers of pink in the sky, so I knew it was happening. But I made a decision for me. As my life goes on and the years pass, I wanted sunsets every day. And so I also knew I wanted to stay in the village because it's a lovely place to live. And so I started the search. Oh, now here's the process. First of all, I decided what I wanted. The big challenge for many of you and why many people live with regret is because you haven't figured out what you want. And for many people, they get a sense, perhaps because of social media or TV or all that's going on, is that what we want needs to be grandiose, when in fact it doesn't. And so for me, it's the small things that mean the most. And when I decided, one of the things I wanted as I moved through my life now, I've laid out my plan for the next 5 years. So this started last August when I turned 65, and I laid out the vision of what I wanted for my life over the next 5 years, one of which is sunsets every night. The second one is actually a process or a practice, and that was to simplify my life. And so That started, first of all, the activity, the action was to write down what I want. Now, as I said, many of you get stuck on that because you can't figure out what you want. So start with this. Start making a list of the things that you know you don't want anymore. That tends to be easier for people that I talk to. I don't want this. I don't want that. I could have listed that. I don't want to be cleaning snow off my car anymore. The last weekend in my house, I was hanging clothes outside. And I looked over, which I loved, and I was looking over the clothesline, and I saw the fence that needed to be repaired. I went back in the house, and I saw the kitchen that needed to be renovated. So it was very interesting and easy for me to start the list of what I didn't want. That's what I would encourage you to do to start with, if in fact you haven't figured out what you want in your life. And then I encourage you to Google a life balance wheel. There's many versions on Google, just to trigger some thoughts. So I start with a life balance wheel. I figure out what I want in my life in the areas of physical health, relationships, money, savings accounts, retirement, vacations, my business, the type of client I want. And so I start to look at what is current reality and what do I want to have different. What do I want to have look and feel different? And travel is a big part for me too. I see Carol's on here. Carol, you're coming in from Italy. Gosh, I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm following your trip with great interest. And so what do I want? I start with the life balance wheel. I moved 3 categories onto a vision board. And so I got very clear with respect to the kind of home or the kind of place where I wanted to live. I ended up choosing a high-rise apartment. So the village is here. My house was over here. The apartment's over here. So I'm still in the village area. I looked around at a number of different apartments because I knew I wanted a southwest exposure. I wanted a lot of windows. I wanted a 2-bedroom apartment, so I have a home office. I knew that I wanted a fitness facility in the building. I wanted access to downtown. I just started. I had a very clear list of what I wanted. I didn't know where I'd find it. But it starts with knowing what you want before you can recognize that it exists. So many of you will stop, again, at the fact that you don't know what you want. Secondly, you stop at the whole process in your mind of how am I going to get there, or where am I going to find it? That doesn't matter. You start with what you want first. So I made the list, and then I started the search. And then as I found places and narrowed my search, I was going check, 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 and in fact landed here in this beautiful bright place with big bright windows, a sunset every night, and it changes every night. And I've become annoyingly happy to all my friends because that is my rite of passage every night. I make my tea, I go out on the balcony, I'm in the moment, and that's part of what I wanted in my life, to stop and breathe and be in the moment, and to enjoy what is around me. Many of you, you're either stuck in your devices, you've got your face down, or you're still working into the wee hours, or whatever is taking up your time and energy. It's really important to identify what you want and be in the moment. This was, again, so magnified for me when I woke up yesterday to the news of what happened in Vegas. There are many people, I'm sure, who are sitting back thinking, oh, I wish I could have gone to the concert, or they were at the concert, and unfortunately, that was their last day on earth. Don't let this be your last day on earth and have regrets. Don't let that happen to you. You have the power to make change with what you want. You can start with the little things. Vanessa, you get stuck balancing with what you want and what your kids want. Listen, I am the first one to say that, yes, we can have everything in life because there's so many opportunities. Absolutely. You just can't have it all at the same time. And so, listen, I raised stepkids too. So I was not gallivanting around the world. Well, I kind of was with my work. But that took a toll on my marriage. And so at certain times in life, for sure, my point in this whole conversation is what you have control over right now. And so, I learned something really brilliant from my mentor, Larry Winget. And if you saw my post yesterday, you see it was his birthday. I learned from Larry Winget that when we think and say to ourselves, so-and-so is so important, it might be your kids, it might be your friends, it might be your family, and certain items are so important. He has a simple statement. Look at your calendar and look at your checkbook or your bank account. And whatever's happening there, that's what you've identified to be really important to you. That is your truth. No matter what you're thinking or what you're saying, reality, look at reality. So on my calendar, you can bet that it's time with friends is in there. And so let me go back to the vision board. On the vision board last January, I clipped out a picture and I put the words on there, and it was 4 girls and a weekend. Now, all I knew in the big scheme of things is that I wanted to go away for a weekend sometime this year, somewhere. I didn't have any details. It didn't matter. But I knew in my heart that's part of what I wanted for this year. Well, I'm heading out this week. It's my 3rd weekend away where I'll be with 4 women. 3 times. That was not part of the vision or the plan, but my gosh, it is part of the blessing. So there's no regrets there. All right, so that's part of it. Google the balance wheel. Take a look at your reality. Where are you at in your life in the different areas? Choose 3 areas. Get very clear on what you want. And again, don't make it grandiose. Keep it simple. I wanted sunsets. I wanted bright lights. I wanted lots of windows. I wanted a fairly new building. I wanted indoor parking. Very clear. I put my name on the list last year. And then I started the process at my house of purging. I started the process of getting myself into my new place. Clearing the energy. I didn't bring half of what I owned. I purged and gave away a lot because I wanted a fresh new start for this chapter in my life, about which I am very excited, and you can be too. So do not live with regret. There was a Facebook post this morning. I'm not sure if she's on here, but one of my friends posted on Facebook this morning a picture of a woman on a motorcycle, and she had words to the effect, vision for 2018. And I said, wait a minute. That's not something that's complicated. This is something you can create now. Why are you waiting for 2018? Tomorrow is promised to no one. It's promised to no one. So take charge of your life today, and then be sure to fill in your gratitude journal every night. So let me share with you, Kathleen, I'm glad you're here too. So let me share with you pieces of the article that nurse in palliative care wrote, and it was called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. Number 1, I wish I had had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life that others expected of me. Listen, for years, those of you who know my story, for years I was in a marriage where I compromised left, right, and center. I lost sight of who I was. My soul was dying, and I knew I needed to make a tough decision to get on with my life the way I knew I could create it, or stay in that life and just continue to die within. There are many people walking around who are already dead. I want to live my best life, and that takes courageous decisions sometimes. So that was actually the number 1 regret of the dying, that they did not have the courage to live the life true to themselves. How are you doing with that? The number 2 regret, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Here's what I noticed. Listen, as a business coach, I see many of you working hard, but you're not working smart. And there's a difference there. I worked hard too. I've worked very hard over the last few years to create the life I'm living now. Yes, I put in long hours. Yes, I put in weekends, but I had a plan. Many entrepreneurs fail to create the business they want. They fail to create the life they want because they don't have a plan. I had a plan, and now I'm living the result of that plan. So yes, there are times, there are days, there are seasons, there are projects where we must give it our all. But where that's indefinite and perhaps infinite for many of you, that will become a regret. So take charge of that now and take a look at how you're doing things. The 3rd regret of the dying, I wish I had had the courage to express my feelings. And again, as I started off with this Facebook Live, and I said to you there were messages coming to me all weekend, a good friend of mine in Vancouver, and I'm going to mention his name because you can go to his Facebook page and have a look at his video. He posted it, I believe it was Saturday night or Sunday morning. His name is Darren Jacklin. And he had been through a workshop and a process Saturday night. So I think it was Sunday morning he posted while he was walking in the woods. And he was talking about developing and building the courage to express his feelings, and how up to this point in his life he had not done that, and how he regretted it. And again, this is the number 3 regret of the dying. I wish I had had the courage to express my feelings. I'm getting much better at that. I grew up in a French Canadian Catholic military home. There were no feelings expressed, believe me. So this is a learned behavior, and I've learned how to do it. And I do it each and every day. And so that is something that you may want to give consideration to as well. Number 4, regret of the dying. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. So I'm a really good connector, and I know it. That's a gift I have, and it's something I take seriously. And my friends have been my lifeline. They have been my, I'm thinking about my lifesaver from the time through my marriage, my separation, my divorce, moving here to London across the country where I felt very isolated and very alone. My girlfriends, oh my gosh. And so I make time for my friends. It's a priority. Go back to what Larry Winget said. Check your calendar, check your bank account. What's on your calendar? For those of you who are thinking, yes, I'm going to call that person or I'm going to connect with that person. Do it today. It takes 2 minutes. Pick up the phone, send a text message, connect with your friends. Let them know that they matter. Let them know that you see them, that you hear them, that you care about them. Connect with your friends. That's the number 4 regret of the dying. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Number 5, I wish that I had let myself be happier. Well, I don't wish that anymore. I made the courageous decision to leave the marriage, to leave my home, to walk out with virtually nothing, move across the country, start all over at age 58. So don't be telling me it's too late. Don't be telling me that. I started all over at 58, and I have created an amazing life with clear vision, with confidence, with clarity, with hard work, with diligence and focus, and a circle of friends and my faith. So those were the 5 regrets of the dying. So when we stop and think about and look back, look at what happened in Vegas, look at some of what's going on in the areas that were hit by the floods, people who have lost everything. You can lose everything. I made the choice to leave everything, but I still had a dream in my heart. I had belief in my head, and I knew that I could recreate. We as human beings are very powerful, but none of that will happen. None of that will happen until you figure out what you want and get the courage to go after it starting today. Now, when it comes down to business, I know that fear is a big part of business for people, and you may end up regretting not having made that call to be of service to someone. You may end up regretting not going to that event or not writing that book or not whatever, fill in the blank. I want to help you with that. You've got one opportunity left this year to see me live. Come behind closed doors with me for a day and a half to learn these techniques and many more when it comes to creating your best life and creating your best business. I'm going to be in Syracuse, October 17th and 18th. I'll put the link there. I want you to come and spend time with me. I dare you. Come and spend time with me and learn these techniques. These are not complicated. I do not believe in complicating anything. So go to the link, mindsetmarketingandmoney.com. mindsetmarketingandmoney.com. I'm going to gift you today with $100 off the registration fee. Put in the code WEALTH, WEALTH, all in capital letters, WEALTH. So go to mindsetmarketingandmoney.com, put in the code WEALTH, and you'll get a gift off the registration fee. Come and spend time with me. Let me help you so I can share the techniques that have worked for me. I'm 66 and I'm just getting warmed up. My focus is absolutely health, wealth, and happiness, and I want some of that for you so that you too are living a life without regret. So feel free to post your comments. Please do share this because other people will benefit from this message, and leave your comments or questions below. I'll be happy to answer them. I'll monitor it for a little while, but please do hit share. But more importantly, come and see me in Syracuse. It will be an amazing day and a half that I know will be life-changing for you. All right, thanks for being here. See you again soon. Bye, everyone.